What's up, SRL League fans, and welcome to round 4 of the International GT3 Championship here in the 4th season of the series. Today we are at, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful racetracks on this planet. We are at Bathurst at Mount Panorama in the Australian outback for a 1.5 hour race. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I'm looking forward to this race as much as I'm looking forward to any other race, but this has a special place in my heart for some reason. Was just waiting for the last few drivers to join into the session, and then we'll get going in a minute. Give me a few more seconds and I'll do some adjustments to the stream and I'll be right back.
Is far greater than the fear of being hurt, and that means you've very much got to weigh up your opponents to see where they are, and you're wheel to wheel with these guys. They're in a strong situation, their car is running well, and you're both in a good position. At that point it's like playing high-speed poker. All you can do is try and gauge the profile of your opponent right, and hope that you've hope you come out in front of him.
So we have 8 drivers on the grid here today for the 4th race of the season, and we're about to ready up for a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 1.5 hour race, so 1 hour and 30 minutes will be the session length. I'm Sandro Doulis, I'm your commentator here today, and I hope we are on for a good one as we're looking at a stacked grid of drivers that we'll go through in a second. But now it's time to ready up and go into the session. Hey, Nick van Gelder on the live chat. Unfortunately, Nick van Gelder has to sit out that round, the Audi driver, the Season 1 champion. He's currently on vacation in Italy, so I hope you're having a good time, but nice to see you having a little look here in the race. Also shout out to Vipo Film, who is in the live chat. Welcome. Hope you're gonna enjoy the session. Just lay back and enjoy. And here we are in the session. We unfortunately have lost Kaz Nurians. He's been struggling with internet issues the entire time since trying to join the session, so I guess we'll see him back in the session, but I don't think he will be able to finish this one. So we are 7 drivers on the grid. And out of the pit box the drivers come with a nice tank slapper there by Logan Orand, trying to warm up the tires already. and out onto the racetrack. 50 minutes of time for the drivers to qualify for this race, and that will determine the starting positions. Logan Oran currently sitting second in the point standings, 5 points behind championship leader Max Mulder, who is going for a back-to-back championship here, obviously won the championship last season. And Cas Nuggians has joined back, so the Dutchman is back in the session. That puts the number of drivers in the session back up to 8. Logan Oran is making his way down the hill through the S's. Such a great section. Let's pick up Cas Nuggians in the Audi. And he's disconnected again. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. He really seems to struggle with internet issues at the moment. This is Senna Hervaya rocking a special livery for this one. Striking red and white livery. Usually we see it in the black colors of the WRT team. And this is championship leader Max Mulder in the Audi. He's leading the championship with 29 points. Obviously we are using a different point system than we do in the F1 series here in the GT3 championship. We basically use the old F1 point system where the top 8 get points and the winner gets 10, second place gets 8. And so on. And fastest lap gets you 1 point extra as well. Max Mulder's coming off 2 wins here in the International GT3 Championship. He won at Donington Park and then last time out at Brno. Worst position this season so far for Max Mulder was a second place to Logan Oran at Daytona in the season opener. And Cas Nuggians is back in the session. Senna Hervaya has picked up a 1-place grid penalty, I see. Seems like speeding in the pit lane. But let's hop on board with Max Mulder, the championship leader, for a flying lap here around Bathurst. Onto the really short start finish straight. And it's quite difficult going into turn 1. There's a really high curb on the inside, 90 degrees onto the exit curb. Need a good exit onto the long mountain straight. You go up the hill here. A lot of elevation changes on the entire lap. Now downhill again. Now a steep right-hander into Quarry. Really nice flowing. Onto exit curb. Use all the space you got on the outside. Then you go into this little kink, use the outside as you go for the cutting, and then up the hill again, flat out through this kink. For Reed's Park here, so close to the wall. This is a really flowing, really difficult section as well. You need a lot of grip going through here, as you're currently having the tires scream at this point. Through Skyline, and now the downhill section starts. The S's. So easy to get wrong. You're so close to the wall, there's no room for errors whatsoever. Really decent line here by Max Mulder. Use the inside curbs there as well. As you have to turn and brake, something you hate doing in the race car, as you go through Forest Elbow. And onto the long Conrod Straight. You need a really good exit coming out of Forest Elbow, otherwise you're gonna lose so much time on this straight, which is I think 1.5 kilometers long. In the race we will see a lot of slipstream overtakes around here. Now you're hitting around 270 kph as you go through this flat out kink, and now really hard braking coming to the chase. This is the prime overtaking opportunity in the race. As Max Motor is now coming towards the end of the lap. Logan Orange did a 2 minutes 6.1 as Max Motor comes to the final corner. Can he beat that lap for provisional pole? Max Motor coming off the line. It's only second, 0.2 off Logan Orange. Currently sitting in third place is Nicolo Falsaresi in the Ferrari. That is a really good lap from Nicolo. Obviously, Nicolo Falsaresi doesn't have that much of experience in these GT3 cars. This is actually his first ever SRL League GT3 start, and he's already putting on some really good laps. Only 0.4 off Logan Orange at the moment. Talking about SRL League debuts, this is Josh Gates in the McLaren. The American joined SRL this week, actually, only a couple of days ago, for a GT3 only campaign, and the American is currently on the racetrack running in 4th place. As Senna Hervey just put in his lap, that is uncompetitive unfortunately, at 2 minutes 39, there must have been a mistake somewhere. Dion Stahl and Tim Venting, the two Dutchmen, still without a lap timing as Cas Nuchian disconnected again. Well, Logan Orange in the background just made some contact with the outside wall coming through Corey, and he straight away went to the pits. Probably got some suspension damage there as he put in a 2 minute 5 flat last time out, coming. It's 1.3 seconds quicker than anybody else. I've heard some talks in the SRL League Discord for the last couple of days. Logan Orange seems to have some really good qualifying pace around this racetrack, so we'll be interesting to see if maybe he focuses on qualifying and not so much race pace, which honestly would surprise me since this is an endurance race and you would think he would go for race pace. But currently the American is on pole with a blistering lap time, as Nicolo Falsaresi now goes on another flying lap. Max Mulder just put in a 2 minute 5.4, so only 0.3 separating the top two now. Mulder might pick up a little slipstream here from, I think that is Logan Orange, who just exited the pits. That is a really nice slipstream on this long straight. This will benefit him for sure. As Max Mulder now comes through Curry, really late braking into here. He loses the back end. Nice slide there by Max Mulder. It's really hot around this racetrack, so as you can see, the drivers will slip and slide everywhere as the tire temperatures are constantly rising. As Nicolo Falsaresi is now coming into Skyline in this wonderful downhill section. Gonna shift down to third, maybe even second gear if you're fighting some understeer. So close to these concrete walls. This difficult downhill braking zone into Forest Elbow, and then you need a good exit, use all the space on the outside to go on to Conrad Straight. Max Mulder has made his way into the pit, so he probably made a mistake somewhere. Let's see what Nicolo Falsaresi has. Around 261, 263 at this point. Maybe even 265, depends on how much wing the Ferrari is running here. The Ferrari, a really decent car in the straight line. Can't say that about the Audi. Through the final corner for Falsaresi. What can the Ferrari driver do in his first ever SRL League GT3 qualifying session? Only 0.5 off Logan Orange, a 5.5. As he goes into the grass. That is a really competitive lap time by the debutant. And the top three are only separated by 0.5, and you always have to remember how long this racetrack is, so that is really astonishing. Logan Orange. Another flying lap here. Let's hop on board with the American. Coming through quarries a little bit late on the turn in. Into the cutting, there's a car around. And Logan Orange has to take avoiding action. That was Tim Ventig. Tim Ventig is F1 teammate and rival for the championship. Obviously, Logan Orange and Tim Ventig fighting for the title in the F1 championship. Which you can see next week again at Spa-Francorchamps. And Tim Ventig just lost it on his lap, and that definitely compromised Logan Orange's run. That will definitely have cost some time, but probably Logan Orange will just carry on. I don't know how much time he's lost through there. Again, a little bit deep there. Doesn't look like the perfect lap so far from Orange. But there's still 3 minutes on the clock, so he definitely got some time left to improve on that 2 minute 5.074, which currently has him on pole position. Orange already claimed pole last time out at Brno and in the season opener at Daytona as well. So Logan Orange definitely a qualifying specialist. Max Mulder still without a pole position this season. Let's see if Logan Orange does improve this time. He does! A 2 minute 4.8, and that lap didn't even look perfect. So there's still some time to gain for the American. What a lap! Max Mulder coming through the cutting. Does he have a respawn for this? As he's coming through the middle sector. This high speed section. One small error can see you going into the wall at like 220 kilometers an hour. Logan Orange in the pits. His session is done. Mulder in the grass. That is his lap over. He probably got one more lap left. This is Falzaresi. Currently 6/10 off pole position. Into the final corner. Really late braking. Using some of the inside curb onto the start finish straight. Falzaresi doesn't improve, but he got one more chance. Minute and a half left in the session. This is Mulder for Frost elbow, and Mulder loses the back end. This lap was done before that anyway. He now gotta cool the tires somehow, and I hope he has enough fuel for another lap. Falzaresi sure does. Uses all of the exit curb. Early on the throttle, as you need to carry all the speed up the hill here. Use all of the room given on the outside. So close to that wall, even wall contact, and that might have hurt the suspension. It definitely compromised the run coming through the high speed double left. By this point, Falzaresi is just gonna keep on going. There's no point in just abandoning the lap right now. Down the hill through Skyline. The Dipper. Such a nice section. As he's coming into Forest Elbow now. This corner will be crucial. Especially the exit coming on Conrad Straight. Looks like a good exit from the Ferrari. This is Mulder starting his final flying lap. Into quarry now. All of the exit curve. Session is done. The checkered flag is out. All started laps still count. So Dion Starr currently in 4th is also on a lap, I think. So is the debutant, Josh Gates. Oh, big moment from Falzaresi, and he is around. That is his session done. Max Mulder, the last man standing. Who's going for pole position at least. Championship leader. Can he take his first pole of the session? Wow. Sliding coming through there. He's using all the space given. Down the hill now. Bit on the grass even. Using all the space. Through the Dipper, the S's. This is looking like a really quick lap by the Dutchman. He wants this pole position. down the hill, hard braking in the forest elbow. He needs a good exit coming out of here to carry all the speed on the long Conrad straight. It's looking good for Max Mulder. He has to find 5.5 tenths somehow in order to get this pole position over his championship rival Logan Orant. This run through chase will be crucial. Hard braking into the right corner, using all of the big curb on the inside. Into the left, a bit loose there as he got a lot of the curb, I think. And he's now coming to the final corner. Max Mulder. Can this be pole position for the Dutchman, the championship leader? The gap is 5.5 tenths, and we need to know. It still is 5.5 tenths, so Max Mulder did not improve on that final run. So we got Logan Orant second in championship, claiming his third pole position of the season. Max Mulder, championship leader, in second place. And Nicolo Faltoresi in his first ever SRL League GT3 outing in third, followed by Dion Stahl. SRL League debutant Josh Gates is in fifth place for McLaren, sixth is Senna Herweijer, seventh Tim Ventic, and not being able to start, unfortunately, is Cas Nurians in eighth place. He was here, so he definitely will get 1 point. Unfortunately, the Dutchman wasn't able to get into the session due to connection issues. So the daytime has changed. Obviously, as I don't know if you guys have seen Bathurst in real life, the 12 hours of Bathurst. I hope you have, because I can definitely recommend it. It's a great sports car race. The races always start very early in the morning. That's why it's still dark here. It's around 4 a.m. at the moment. So these drivers will drive through the sunrise into the morning hours and will end this race around just past midday. So waiting for all the drivers to make their final setup and strategy changes. And then we will be here for the race start. Senna Herweijer drops to the back of the grid due to his grid penalty that he gained due to speeding in the pit lane in qualifying. So Herweijer lines up in 7th, Tim Ventic in 6th place. Little information from Cas Nurians. He unfortunately said that he had to give up on trying to rejoin the lobby. He was definitely fighting some internet issues there, so that's really unfortunate for Cas Nurians, who is sitting third in the championship. He still had a mathematical chance going to this round to get the title, but it's looking more and more unlikely. He got third place secured. He got a 10-point lead over Nick van Gelder in the championship, who unfortunately isn't here today. So we're waiting for this grid start. We're doing a standing start here, as it's just the safest way in Project Cars 2. So the drivers are on the grid. "1.5 hours at Bathurst. And we are go. Good start there by Logan Orant, a good jump. Also good job by Tim Ventic in the background. Josh Gates hits the wall already. He got squeezed out. Logan Orant stays in the lead, followed by Max Mulder, followed by Nicolo Falzaresi. Good start there by Dion Stahl. He's right on the back end of his fellow Ferrari there. Ferrari 3rd, 4th and 5th, as Tim Ventic had a really good jump. As they are in the slipstream currently of each other, going through Mountain Straight. Everybody really calm and collective here. It's a long race. There's no need to take any unnecessary risks here early on. Josh Gates got squeezed into the wall in the race start. I hope he doesn't... Oh, there's an incident! Senna Herweijer and Josh Gates. Senna Herweijer is around. Josh Gates definitely hit the wall there, and there must be suspension damage for the McLaren. Now, that was really unfortunate. I think Senna Herweijer just braked a little early. I think there was a checkup, and Josh Gates had a big gap to the cars in front, and I think he did not anticipate the checkup that happened in front of him. Max Mulder right on the rear end of Logan Orant. As they're coming through the S's for the first time in race trim. It's so different compared to qualifying, as your car is super heavy and the tires are really cold, as he obviously just started the race, and the track temperature is a lot lower than in the qualifying session that happened midday. Max Mulder seems to struggle through the S's here a little bit. Nicola Falzaresi definitely had a better run, is now right in the slipstream of Max Mulder on Conrad Straight. There's already around half a second of a gap to Dion Starr behind them. Tim Ventic at the moment somewhere. His headlights are off and he's dropped to 6th place, so I wonder if he had any wall contact coming through the S's. Unfortunately, I missed Nicola Falzaresi making a move for 2nd place here on Max Mulder, who's dropped to 3rd. But Logan Orand will lead here on lap 1. The pole sitter stays in 1st place. Nicola Falzaresi has made up a spot on Max Mulder, who is now in 3rd place. Will we see any pit stops for repairs? Tim Ventic has carried on, so I think he just turned off his lights maybe. Senna Hervey in the background flashing his lights, maybe checking if they're still working. So thankfully nobody had to make an unscheduled pit stop here on lap 1, but I definitely think there will be some damage for some of these drivers, especially Josh Gates and Senna Hervey, as they had pretty significant contact there coming into the cutting for the first time on lap 1. Max Mulder really close there to the wall on the exit. Tim Ventic is in the wall. Oh, and he got his rear wheel missing. That was a huge crash for the Dutchman. I just saw Josh Gates driving away from this with massive front end damage. And that is Tim Venting's day done. There's no way he's gonna get that car back to the garage. Oh, that is so unfortunate. I'm really sorry, guys, that I missed that. That car's destroyed. And his day is done. Oh, that is super unfortunate for the Dutchman. Josh Gates is carrying on. He got significant damage to his car. He's making his way back to the pits, I imagine. And that will be a lengthy repair pit stop for the American in his first ever SRL League start. And Tim Ventic has officially retired off the session. That is super unfortunate that we've already lost 2 cars within the first 5 minutes. Obviously, Kaz Nugent's not even being able to make the start here. The top 3 seem to be very similar on pace, as we're starting lap 3 now. They're only separated by around 2 seconds. This is a race of attrition. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think everybody else will finish this race. I think we'll see some more incidents in this one, as Bathurst is just such a challenging track. And we're still in the morning hours, so the track temperatures are still quite low. As we rise going into midday, the track temperatures will rise, and these drivers will have to fight with massive overheating of the tires. I've heard from a few drivers that in the practice sessions tire temperatures were a big issue, and coming through these S's especially with no runoff area, I would be shocked if everybody else would come through there without any incidents. I hope I'm wrong, as I said, as Josh Gates is now in the pit box, and this will be a lengthy repair stop for the McLaren crew. I think he might even lose a lap here and go 1 lap down already. Tough start to an SRL career. Falzaresi is looking strong on pace. We're still early on in the race, so let's take a quick look if we have every alternative strategies here. You can see on the right hand side, left to the gearing, you can see how many liters of fuel there are in the car. So we got Nicolo on 84 liters, Orand on 111. So Nicolo Falzaresi is definitely not running a full tank here, which is interesting. That might explain his pace advantage currently over Max Moller, who's also running a full tank. So is Dion Stahl, so is Senna Herbeyer, and so is Josh Gates. Maybe not quite, but as Josh Gates has gone one lap down as he's now currently exiting the pits. So Nicolo Falzaresi on a bit of a different strategy here, which is very interesting. This is gonna spice things up in a strategy game here. Falzaresi looking really strong on pace, which is a sensation in my opinion, considering that he really doesn't have a lot of experience on Project Cars 2 and in GT3 cars generally speaking. This, as I said earlier, is his first ever SRL GT3 start, and he's fighting for the lead here with Logan Orand, who has multiple race wins. As you can see, the sunrise is starting to happen. Falzaresi hits the wall. He got a bit loose there, coming through the S's. Damage limitation there though. Seems like he might have suffered a bit of aero damage on the front end, but that could have been a whole lot worse, especially with Max Moller running right behind him. That could have been a pile-up, because there's only one line through there, and there's really nowhere to go for Max Moller that was running right behind the Italian. So big moment there from Falzaresi, and that has cost him around half a second to Logan Orand. Which on this racetrack is crucial due to the massive slipstream effect you have on these long straights. Tim Vendick on the live chat saying, well, that was a quick race. Yes, it was. That must have been a huge crash for you guys. Maybe you could give a little explanation what happened there, because your car looked destroyed. Yeah, really unfortunate for sure. Falzaresi, despite his mistake coming through the S's, was only 2/10 slower than Orand on the last lap. This night to daytime transition is gonna change things up, because we will see who is running what setup here. You might have a decent setup as Falzaresi gets so close to the inside wall. You might have a setup that runs well in these lower temperatures, but as we go into the daytime, where it gets a lot hotter and the tire temperatures will rise, maybe someone like Max Moller, who currently seems to struggle a little bit on pace, at least he isn't the fastest driver on the racetrack, which we've seen through the last two races of the season. Maybe he has his car set up for the daytime, and maybe he will strive in the hotter temperatures. That's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on for the next few laps. As Max Moller was really late on the brakes here, you could hear them locking the brakes coming into Forrest's elbow. As the sun is coming up. The Ferraris definitely have an advantage in straight line speed. As you can see, Max Moller definitely lost maybe a tenth or even two on the Conrad straight here, despite having the slipstream of two cars in front of him. And Falzaresi remains in striking distance to Logan Orand. Oh, super late on the brakes from Falzaresi. He's all over the rear end of Logan Orand. Look at the top three separated by a second. Not even, that's half a second. Will Falzaresi make a move on his Ferrari teammate? It's not close enough coming through Crowley. Now he's looking to the outside of Logan Oran. This is for the lead, coming into the kink. And there's a wall contact from Logan Oran. Falzaresi is around. And there's contact with Logan Oran. Oran stays in the lead. Max Muller comes into second place now. Falzaresi drops to third. Falzaresi got really loose coming into the cutting. And Logan Oran, out of all of this, somehow remains in the race lead. Max Muller now in second, keeping his nose clean. Has Falzaresi suffered any damage through this? Oh, another hit with the barrier there from Falzaresi. If you've suffered some aero damage or some suspension damage, things will just add up as your drivability gets away from you. And the walls basically get closer and closer every single lap. I see Tim Vantek explaining the incident between him and Josh Gates on the live chat. They basically were going side by side going into quarries on the long mountain straight, and they somehow touched and went into the wall together. Tim Vantek even caught some air, I think. That is really unfortunate to hear, as both their days are done now. Tim Vantek out of the race, of course, and Josh Gates 1.5 laps down. A bit wide there from Orand. He had a poor exit coming out of Forrest's elbow. And Max Mulder is all over him. Good news for Falzaresi. His car seems to be fine as he's sticking with these guys. But Max Mulder has nothing on the Ferrari in the straight line. Look at the top three, they're still within a second of each other. Now it's Falzaresi all over the back end of Max Mulder. And Falzaresi in the Ferrari got the straight line speed advantage. Is he looking towards the inside here of Max Mulder on the grass? There may come contact. Falzaresi got the inside line to Quarries. And Max Mulder's in the wall, the championship leader. That was a really opportunistic move from Falzaresi. And I think Max Mulder will be fuming with the Italian. And that was significant contact from Max Mulder. He must have suffered some suspension damage there. Really, I have to say, unfortunately, over-aggressive move there. By the debutant, by the young Italian, Nicolo Falzaresi. There's still 1 hour and 40 minutes to go. Why would you make such an aggressive move so early on? And Max Mulder definitely has suffered from this. Logan Orand who saw that in his rearview mirrors maybe, he loved what he saw there. Because he's now leading by 1.5 seconds over Falzaresi, who probably has some damage, and championship rival Max Mola, who definitely must have suffered some damage there. So it's a Ferrari 1-2 at the end of lap 8. Mulder continues on, so no damage for him. At least no damage that needs a repair stop right now. Little shout out to Dion Style, who is doing what he does best, is keeping his nose clean, and he's in striking distance of the top 3. So if more things happen at the front, Dion Stahl might be able to get a podium out of this, which would be great for the Dutchman, who's had a really tough season so far. And Max Motor keeps dropping back as he has... Yeah, look how wide he's running for Quoes. He definitely seems to have some damage. I mean, that was significant wall contact on the previous lap, so I would be surprised if that Audi would still be in the shape it was that it was at the race start. Falzaresi all over the back of Logan Orand. Don't think there will be any team orders as there's some wall contact there by Falzaresi. That is concrete. That will hurt. Especially the suspension. Down the hill. Every single lap now, that downhill section, the S's, will get more difficult due to the track temperatures rising. As the sun is coming out, the track will heaten up. And the tire temperatures and the tire pressures will keep on rising. So definitely something to look out for, as Falzaresi had a lot of a better exit there out of Forest's elbow. Logan Oron ran a little bit wide there on the exit, almost hit the wall. But Falzaresi is not close enough. Max Mulder now 5 seconds behind this battle, so Mulder has definitely suffered some damage. Dion Stahl is now coming for the 3rd place. I'm wondering if Max Mulder will make an early pit stop maybe to get that damage repaired. This race is a sure one stop, so you gotta make it work on fuel as well. And tires are also quite the topic on this racetrack. As I was just talking about the track temperatures, these drivers will fight tire wear as well. Max Mulder last time around was 3 seconds slower than our leading duo here, the 2 Ferraris. So that damage is definitely compromising Max Mulder's pace at the moment. Falzaresi is still not close enough to Logan Orand. These two seem evenly matched on pace and especially straight line speed, which will make it really difficult for Falzaresi to make an overtake. Stahl just went past Mulder, and Mulder is really loose there on the exit. Massive moment there for the Dutchman, who lost the rear end coming out of Quoes. We got our F1 commentator, Lance, on the live chat saying that he wished he could have made this race, as he loves Bathurst. Yeah, Lance, I can assure you that I have the same feelings about this racetrack that you have. Bathurst is definitely one of my absolutely favorite racetracks on the entire planet, honestly, and it's a real shame that I still never made an SRL star around here, as I have to fulfill my commentator's duties. Which is fun, but obviously being on the racetrack is something a bit different. And yeah, Bathurst is definitely one of my favorites for sure. Josh Gage just made his way into the pits. The American in his first ever SRL League start. That is his 2nd pit stop, and I imagine this might be another unscheduled one, as he's currently running 1 lap down. Lance is also making the point that Nicolo is probably burning up his stuff being aggressive this early, and I can only imagine he is, because it's really early on in this race. He just made a really aggressive overtake on Max Molder, put the Dutchman into the wall, and Falzaresi is pushing really hard. He is obviously running the alternative strategy on the lighter car than Logan Orange, so his first stint will be a bit slower, a bit shorter, excuse me. And he must have suffered some damage as well from, I think, 2 moments where he hit the wall. So Falzaresi is definitely on the aggressive side here today. Talking about aggressive, his aggressive move put Max Molder into the wall, and Max Molder is now in the pits already. We've still got over an hour to go here in this race. This is an unscheduled repair stop for the championship leader, and this will drop him down to... Probably he will remain in 4th place, as Senna Hervey is just coming through the chase, so that's a big gap to him. I don't know how this plays out strategy-wise. I don't know if Max Muller can go a full hour without a pit stop. It will definitely be difficult with the tire wear. I'm not sure how it is on fuel, but Max Muller was losing a lot of time there to the leading pack, so he had to make a pit stop for repairs. It looks like Senna Hervey will get that position off of Max Mulder. And Senna Hervey will pick up 4th place. A bit deep there by Falzaresi through Forest Elbow. He lost around half a second coming through there. And a poor exit as well, so he will lose some more time on this long straight. Last lap around, Nicolo Falzaresi 1.5 seconds slower than Logan Oran, so maybe Lance Lebron was right and Falzaresi has burned off his stuff, or there was a massive mistake that we have unfortunately missed there from Falzaresi. Falzaresi was off the racetrack there through this high-speed section. So Falzaresi might be overdriving his car a little bit, or he's finally suffering from that damage that he suffered early on. Lost another 8/10 coming through there. Obviously his off-track incursion. Little twitch there. Midway through Forest Elbow as well. I think Falzaresi has lost his stuff. He might have burned up his tires maybe. Maybe he's suffering from the damage. But he's now 3.5 seconds behind our race leader Logan Orant, who's currently coming to lap, I think this might be Josh Gates, who's coming through the chase. Josh Gates about to drop 2 laps down here. Yeah, Lance LeBron on the live stream making a fair point. Nicolo Falzaresi was just pushing too hard, too early on, with a lighter car as well. And that is showing right now, as he has lost another 2 seconds on the previous lap onto our race leader Logan Orant. And this is good news for Dion Stahl, who, I was talking about him earlier, He didn't have the pace to remain with the top 3, but he just stayed around 7 or 8 seconds behind the leading trio. And I was saying early on that if something happened to the 3 leaders, Dion Stahl was ready to pick up the pieces, and he's already done that with Max Muller, and now Nicolo Falzaresi is suffering from what I can imagine is damage and possible tire wear. Nicolo Falzaresi might drop a position here to Dion Stahl. Dion Stahl would pick up 2nd place. He's already running in 3rd place. This is a really good performance so far from Dion Stahl, who has had a rough season, but we've seen this numerous times before from him. Even though if he doesn't have the pace, he's super consistent and he has this ability to keep his nose clean, and he might pick up his first podium here today of the season. I mean, after all, we're talking about we're talking a lot about over aggressiveness here early on. This, after all, is an endurance race, and I don't think early aggressiveness has ever paid off in endurance racing. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon, and Dion Stahl is racing this race like a marathon. Nicolo Falzaresi wasn't early on, and it's currently showing. But this is all an experience thing. I was talking about it earlier. This is Nicolo Falzaresi's first ever SRL GT3 start. He's coming from the F1 scene, and these F1 races are pretty much sprint races compared to this. So this is something that Nicolo Falzaresi, who's still really young, that's something he has to learn. And he will definitely learn from this experience. These races depend all on keeping your nose clean and being consistent. But knowing Nicolo Falzaresi, he will learn from this, and next race, I bet he will be a changed driver in this GT3 series. Falzaresi, for his age especially, is a really quick learner. He's currently on a tear in the F1 series, winning 2 of the last 3 races, which is a really impressive run. Currently running 3rd in the point standings over there, and now today making his first SRL GT3 start. Sandro Doulis has, in the meantime, has dropped back down to 5th place. There must have been a mistake somewhere from the Dutchman, as he's now running 17 seconds behind Max Muller, who was behind Sandro Doulis after his pit stop. Max Muller currently the quickest car on the racetrack, just did a 2 minutes 7.9. That is around 1.5 seconds quicker than our race leader Logan Orant. Yeah, his aggressiveness, the aggressiveness of Nicolo Falzaresi has definitely paid off in the F1 series, and that is something that you need, that punchiness, that aggressiveness in these F1 races, as it's give or take in the F1 series. You have to make a move, you have to get around someone quick one as the laps are winding down. These races are really sprint races, but this really doesn't work in the GT3 endurance race. But like I said earlier on, I think Nicolo Falzaresi is someone that learns really quick, and that is something that you just need to learn your first ever start. And I think he's gotten the message already, because I bet Max Muller won't be happy with what happened about 10 laps ago. And we've just cracked the 1 hour mark, so 1 hour to go in this race. We're half an hour done. Logan Orant, pole sitter, still leading the way in front of Nicolo Falzaresi, who started 3rd. Dion Stahl, very calmly and consistently, has just picked up 3rd place off of Max Muller, who made a pit stop for repairs. We've lost 2 drivers already, which was Cas Nukian, who unfortunately just disconnected before the race start, and Tim Ventic was involved in a huge incident with the SRL League debutant Josh Gates in the McLaren. Gates currently running 2 laps down in 6th place. That McLaren still sounds stunning in my opinion. Such deep roar. a 2 minutes 7.8 last time around by Logan Orant. He's extended the gap to Nicola Falzaresi to 4.5 seconds now. I wonder if the Ferrari might even stop earlier than scheduled, because I mean, here obviously there was a bonnet laying in the middle of Forest Elbow. That was Senna Hervaya, who has apparently had a huge incident. His car is completely destroyed, and he just turned right into the wall. That is definitely some suspension damage for the Dutchman, because if you get that suspension damage, this car will be terrible and basically impossible to steer. He's staying to the left-hand side, making his way back into the pit lane. So Senna Hervaya most definitely will go another lap down here with a long repair pit stop. I was just talking about the strategy of Nicola Falzaresi. He underfueled his car compared to the other drivers. He did not take a full tank going into this race, and he definitely has suffered some damage. I wonder if he might even pit a little bit early here. It's an easy one stop, and Falzaresi definitely seems to have the pace in this race with a clean race car, so I can't imagine Falzaresi pitting within the next 10 minutes here. And Hervaya has made his way into the pit lane. This will be a lengthy repair pit stop for the Audi crew. Lance, we would definitely love to see you coming back into this series and in the McLaren as well, because I think more drivers should try the McLaren. It's not only a beautiful race car, but it sounds amazing, and as far as I know, it's actually quite easy to drive. It's a very light car, and there's a wall contact there by Josh Gates, and I think it even took an SRL win. Yeah, it did in season 2, I think it was. I'm not too sure, I might have to check my notes on that. But I remember Dion Stahl definitely driving this car, and he picked up a few podiums here in season 1 and 2. Just a mean sounding race car, and if a race car sounds mean, it's always a good race car. Now, as the track temperature has gone up a lot since the start of this race, which obviously started in the night time, we have to talk about tires a bit more here. Obviously, we already had the topic of tire temperatures being a real issue around here, especially for the S's for the middle sector. This is the Australian outback after all. We got very high temperatures. It's really sunny out here as well. The track temperatures will be really high by now already, and they will only go up as we come close to midday. I've heard some talks early on before the race that some drivers might try the hard tires. It's basically an unwritten rule in this series that if you want to be competitive, you need to run the soft slick tire. We could see maybe the medium or even the hard tire here today, just because of the track temperatures. Obviously, a harder compound will have less issues with the high track temperatures here, and yeah, we might see someone like, especially Max Mulder, I heard, talk a lot about possibly running the harder compound. I wonder if he maybe even picked up the harder compound already on his early pit stop. But that is definitely something a bit of the ordinary here in the GT3 series, as the slick soft tire is basically the only tire you want to be on in this series. But not today. It's a bit different. Nicola Falzaresi has gone around. Falzaresi is in the wall through the S's, and there's significant damage to the front end to that Ferrari. I just saw Dion Stahl going past into second place, And Dion Stahl, Nicolo Falzaresi as Senna Hervaya is in the wall again on the left hand side. Falzaresi has thrown his chances of a win away here. I just wonder why he did not pit for his repairs earlier. Because he was definitely struggling on what seemed like tire wear and possible suspension damage from earlier wall contact. I wonder why he did not pit earlier. And he's staying out. I don't understand the strategy by the Italian. I mean, his car is destroyed and he definitely has suffered suspension damage. And he's running a lighter car than anybody else. If he pits now, I think he might be able to go to the end. But by staying out, he will just lose more and more time. And I mean, he doesn't even have this podium secured because Max Mulder's pace is blistering. He's the second fastest car on the racetrack right now, and Max Mulder is definitely hungry for a podium to keep this championship lead, especially with the gap to second place as Logan Orand is currently leading this one. Josh Gage is making his third pit stop. Senna Hervaya is coming into the pits for another repair pit stop. So it will be, at worst, probably fourth place for Nicolo Falzaresi, and Senna Hervaya is pulling into the garage. His day is done. So that is the third retirement of this race. We're down to 5 runners now. As I said at the start of this one, this is a race of attrition. This racetrack is eating up these race cars. It's not only that, it's also physically quite challenging, even in a sim racing rig. You really get a workout doing this race. And your arms get numb at some point, and as the tire wear gets higher and higher, it's really easy to maybe lose a bit of concentration at some point, and this track will bite. There's no runoff coming through the S's, especially. If you go offline in the middle of the race where the marbles outside is quite dusty around here, you will end up in the wall for sure, and that could be your race done, as we've seen already with Hervaya, of course, and Tim Bentic earlier on retiring as well. This racetrack is punishing. It's a total opposite to something like a Bahrain, for example, that we see in the F1 series, where you can go around, there's no way you will hit the wall. If you go offline here, you will hit a wall. So, really an old school racetrack here at Mount Panorama. Logan Orand is putting the track on fire. He just put in the 2 minutes 7.4. I think that might be the fastest lap of the race. Let's quickly check on that. It is the fastest lap of the race by Logan Orand last time around. Let's quickly hop inside of the cockpit of Nicolo Falzaresi to see if we might recognize some suspension damage here, some steering issues for the Italian. It definitely seems like the steering wheel is pulling towards the right a little bit. It's not as bad as I thought it was. So the aero damage might overweigh here, with the front end being damaged quite significantly on this Ferrari 488, excuse me. But I feel like the Italian definitely has some suspension damage, but not as bad as I thought it was. But still, he's losing time as he's carrying on. He did a 2 minute 10.7 on the previous lap. That is around 3 seconds slower than his normal pace. I have to shout out Dion Stahl here, who's really picked up the pace. Last lap he was even 2 tenths quicker than our race leader Logan Orant, only 2 tenths off the fastest lap of the race. Dion Stahl is on a mission here. I'm not sure how much practice he did for this one, but he definitely seems to be loving his race car right now, and his setup seems to be decent enough to maybe even fight for the win. There's only 11 seconds separating himself from Logan Orant, our race leader here. Could this be his first win in the GT3 series? Wouldn't be his first Project Cars 2 win. Dion Stahl is an absolute weapon at the Indy 500. He's a 3-time winner of that race, which is just crazy every single time you say that. Yes, he's a 3-time winner of the Indy 500, which is such a competitive race in the SRL League. We will be back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in June, at the beginning of June, for the one-off race at Indianapolis. Usually the last race of the S36 season before we enter the summer break, just after the F1 season has finished. This season, the GT3 season, Season 4, will finish in May, with the season finale at Fuji. So we got still 3 more rounds after this. We're gonna be at Road America for round 5, then we go over to the Nürburgring Nordschleife, another super punishing and difficult racetrack for a 2.4-hour race, so our equivalent to the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. And then we'll go to Fuji for the season finale. The gap between Orant and Stahl seems to be quite stable at around 11 seconds. On the previous lap, Orant gained a bit of time, but now on this lap he seems like he has lost a bit. Well, it's evening out in a straight line. I think Logan Orant might be running a bit lower downforce than Dion Stahl, as Orant seems to gain a bit of time on the long straights, especially here on Conrad Straight. Dion Stahl takes a lot of curb through the first part of the chase. That really tricky right-left hander there, that section after the hard braking zone coming off of Conrad Straight towards the end of the lap. Last lap, Dion Stahl gained 4 tenths on Logan Orant. Falzaresi is still on the racetrack with his damaged car. He did a 2:11 on the last lap. He lost around 3 seconds on Max Mulder. That was so dangerous there to hit the wall coming through that super quick left-hander that goes downhill as well. It's quite blind. Would be interesting to see what happens if Max Muller catches up to Nicolo Falzaresi. I don't expect some like retaliation in terms of purposely hitting him, but I could see Max Muller, as he's probably quite upset with the way Falzaresi raced him early on in this race. There might be a little doll banging, maybe pushing him into the grass a little bit, as Max Muller will definitely be unhappy with the Italian. Saying that because Falzaresi is losing a lot of time here, and I'm not sure how much time he will lose due to the repairs he has to make, but he might come around the same area where Max Muller is at the moment. These two are separated by about half a minute. The two leaders are on a mission. They are trading fastest laps at this point. Logan Orant on the previous lap, on lap 22, just beat his fastest lap of the race, which previously was a 2 minute 7.4. He did a 2 minute 7.2. Only 10 seconds later, Dion Stahl beat that fastest lap of the race by doing a 2 minute 7.2 as well, but 21 thousandths quicker than Logan Orant. These two on another level at the moment. They are flying. As we're just over half, as we got just under halfway to go in this race. 41 minutes left of this 1.5 hour race. Logan Orant is approaching lap traffic. That is the McLaren of Josh Gates, who is currently running 2 laps down. He's about to go 3 laps down. And very fair of Josh Gates, he gets out of the throttle and lets the race leader by. This is not a rule in the SRL League International GT3 Championship, as this is an endurance racing series, and in endurance racing there are no such blue flags as having to let someone by who's on the lead lap. Let's hop on board into the cockpit of Logan Orant, our race leader, to have a flying lap around this racetrack, as he's currently on fire. He just put in the fastest lap of the race, the first 2 minutes 6 of this race. And there was one lap on board with our race leader Logan Orand around Bathurst, around Mount Panorama. Through all of this, the gap to second place Leon Stahl has remained the same. It's still always around 11-12 seconds. Currently it's 12.5 seconds separating our two leaders. As Falzarese keeps on dropping back, he's now 42 seconds behind race leader Logan Orand. He's constantly doing 11s and 10s. Max Mulder keep getting closer. To be fair, Mulder's pace since his pit stop hasn't been that impressive. He just did a 2:09 on the previous lap. Let's see what this lap is going to be. But Max Mulder not on his usual form here today. I mean, he was in contention for the race lead early on, but ever since the incident he had, I mean, he just did a 2-minute 8.4. That is still really quick, but it's still a second off the pace from our race leaders, who of course are running a bit of a lighter car as well. But Max Mulder is Max Mulder, that's all I have to say. But this track probably doesn't suit the Audi as well with these long straights. The Audi is quite poor in the straight line, quite slow compared to the Ferraris especially. As we, at the moment, have a Ferrari 1-2-3 with Orand, Stahl and Falzarese. At 2 minutes 6.7 on the last lap by Dion Stahl. That is a new fast lap of the race. I was just saying it earlier. These two are trading the fastest laps. Dion Stahl has gotten better and better throughout this race. And I'm actually really surprised by that, because as I said earlier on, Dion Stahl has struggled a lot through this season especially, and the previous season as well. I did not have him as one of my favorites to win this race today, but he's definitely in contention. His strength is being very consistent and usually mistake-free, and today he's also super quick. Currently the fastest car on the racetrack. Oh, big moment there by Dion Stahl. He goes a bit deep there for his elbow. I did not want to put the commentator's curse on him by just saying that he usually stays mistake-free. But well held there by the Dutchman. Even despite the mistake by Dion Stahl, he was 2/10 quicker than Logan Orange on lap 27. We've lost Josh Gates. Josh Gates has just retired of the session. So that is our 4th retirement of the day. I was just talking about... I've been talking about this a lot today. This is a race of attrition, and as you can see on the left hand side, we're down to 4 runners only in this race. Unbelievable attrition. This is really an old school race. Unfortunate for Josh Gates and his SRL debut with a retirement, but I mean, he still gets credited with a P5, which is points, so good for the American. So we are now down to 4 runners only. This looks a lot worse than it really is. This is just a high attrition race, and we've seen this today as we're now 1 hour in this race. And Falzaresi finally makes his one and only pit stop of this race, at least one and only scheduled pit stop. This pit stop will take a bit longer than usual because he definitely has to make some repairs to that Ferrari, and he will drop down to 4th as Max Mulder will take his P3 position. So Max Mulder is going to be back into the podium spots. Falzaresi back out on the racetrack. He is 30 seconds behind Max Mulder, and in the background you can see Logan Oren coming for Nicolo Falzaresi to put the Italian lap down. But of course, Logan Oren still has to make his one and only pit stop of this race. Max Mulder is matching lap times with the two leaders again. All of them are currently in the 2-minute 8s. And that is a 2-minute 9.3 again for Max Mulder. Let's quickly check on the current fuel situation for our two leaders. Let's check with Logan Arendt. On the right hand side, left to the gearing, you can see the liters left in the tank, and Logan Arendt got 31 liters left, as that is Falzaresi in the grass in the chase. Falzaresi now a lap down. So Logan Oren got 31 liters left. I'm not sure. I think that can go to the end. So you can go to the end on one without a pit stop for fuel, but these drivers still have to make their one and only mandatory pit stop. Dion Star got 23 liters left. And Max Mulder obviously made his pit stop already. He got 54 liters left. And Nicolo Falzaresi, we just saw him, he has enough to go to the end as well. But as we look at the fuel situation, it's not a big deal at this racetrack to go to the end on one on just one tank of fuel. So I still wonder why Nicolo Falzaresi stayed out that long with the damaged car he had, because he was losing around 3 or 4 seconds a lap, and he stayed out for another extra 10 laps, which cost them ultimately around 30 or 40 seconds. So I really don't understand that strategy call by the Italian, because that has definitely cost him a chance at the podium here. Nick van Gelder on the live chat saying that this is a really good performance by Dion Stahl, staying out of trouble. And yes, that is definitely something that Dion Stahl excels at. He is really good in these races with keeping his nose clean, being really consistent on pace. And today he's not only being consistent, he's also being super quick. He's matching Logan Oran's pace for the entirety of this race. I mean, the gap between the two has stayed at 11, 12, 13 seconds the entirety of the last probably 45 minutes. It took Dion Stahl a few laps to get into the rhythm. He lost a bit of time early on, but ever since he has been on it, and he's matching pace with Logan Orr at the moment. And Dion Stahl still has the fastest lap of the race with that 2 minutes 6.5, I think it was, around 10 laps ago. So yeah, really good performance here by Dion Stahl, who is due to get a podium. He hasn't had a podium since, I think it was season 2 for the Dutchman. It was season 2 at Daytona, so it's been 3 years since Dion Stahl has gotten a podium in the GT3 series, so it's about time the man gets another podium. And he's now 20 minutes away from that. Oh, super close to the wall there from Dion Stahl. Threading the needle through this concrete tunnel, because that is really what it is. A high-speed concrete tunnel. He's making his way through the S's. Through the dipper. And now it is really difficult braking zone where you have to turn and brake while going downhill into Forest Elbow, and then you still need a fantastic exit here to carry all the speed on this long Conrad straight. Such a challenging section. As Dion Stahl is coming to lap his Ferrari teammate Nicolo Falzaresi, who's a lap down. I think at this point Logan Oran might be going for the fastest lap here. Here you can see on the right hand side, currently Dion Stahl still holds the fastest lap of the race with a 2 minutes 6.7. Obviously that fastest lap is an extra bonus point, and if you're in the championship fight the way Logan Orant is against Max Mulder, every single point counts. So I wonder if Logan Orant might be pushing here to possibly get the fastest lap, but on these old tires they have run for 1 hour and 15 minutes now, it's probably quite difficult. If Logan Orant somehow manages to pick up that 1 point for the fastest lap, he could go tied in points with our championship leader Max Mulder, who's currently in 3rd place. These two are currently separated by 5 points in the standings, and the way it stands right now, Logan Orant would pick up 10 points, Max Mulder only 6. And that would put Logan Orant 1 point behind Max Mulder, and with that fastest laps, he could tie it. Max Mulder would still remain the championship lead on the tiebreaker. They both got the similar amount of wins if Logan Orant comes home and wins this race. But Logan Orant got that 4th place at Bonington Park, which would lose him the tiebreaker to Max Mulder. "15 minutes left in this race. Another really fast lap by Dion Stahl. 2 minutes 6.9 again. That is almost a second quicker than Logan Orant. So Dion Stahl definitely keeping the American on his toes for the final few laps of this race. A bit of a moment there from Dion Stahl on the entry to the cutting. Oh! Into the wall goes Dion Stahl. I think he was just pushing a little bit too hard. Has that been the suspension from the Dutchman? He was mistake-free all race long. Let's quickly hop on board into the cockpit with Dion Stahl to see what his steering wheel is doing at the moment. Is it bent? It doesn't look like it in a straight line. Obviously his screen is cracked. That was a huge whack into the outside concrete wall there through the cutting, through the dipper. I think the steering is fine. That is crucial. With only 30 minutes left in this race. Dion Stahl was trying to keep the pressure up on race leader Logan Orant. He was certainly doing that, but I think he might have overstepped the line there a little bit. He still went 2/10 quicker than Orant on that lap. Steering seems to be fine for Dion Stahl. That is good to see. Logan Orand coming towards the line now to complete his 37th lap of this race. We got 11 minutes left. Another 7.4 for Logan Orand, super quick again. Actually, 4 have retired. Unfortunately, Kasnuchians wasn't able to take the flag here, the race start, as he disconnected just before the session started. But yeah, this really is a race of attrition, and I think before the race even started, everybody knew about this. This racetrack is just super punishing. If you just make a small error, you can end up in one of these concrete walls, and that is shown a couple of times with this race. This racetrack, this layout just bites if you make an error, which is, in my opinion, quite nice. It's really an old school racetrack, and a few drivers, obviously Tim Ventic, Josh Gates and Senna Hervaya, have experienced that firsthand here today, while even having to retire their car in the pits. And with Tim Ventic, he had to retire on the racetrack, obviously with his rear wheel missing and the engine being gone after that huge crash on lap 2 with Josh Gates. So Tim Ventic's race, unfortunately, has ended quite early. Same for the debutant Josh Gates, of course, who is still gonna come home with a top 5 here. Obviously retiring in P5, that will be a couple of points for the American. But I bet he would have wished to finish his first ever SRL League race here in his SRL League debut. Dion Stahl has pitted, probably for repairs, maybe taking another fresh set of tires here to maybe even improve on his fastest lap of the race. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel, only 2 liters left. 10 liters left for Logan Orand, so I think the American also still has to pit. This might be interesting here. Dion Stahl will definitely not go for tires. There are only 8 minutes left in this race. I thought he was going for fastest lap of the race. That was not the case. It was just for fuel. He got 21 liters in the car now. He did not change tires. And he's out on the racetrack. Could he make a possible undercut work on Logan Orand? This outlap will be really crucial here for Dion Stahl. Let's see if Logan Orand will cover Dion Stahl off on this lap. With 7 minutes left. That 4th SRL League GT3 Championship career win for Logan Orand might not be as safe as we might have thought. Will Orand pit on this lap to cover off Stahl? Orand stays out. He got 8.6 liters left in the tank. 7 minutes remain. So it's gonna be 3 or 4 laps left. Oh, this is gonna be super tight for Logan Orand. It was a 7.5 on the last lap for Logan Orand. Both of these drivers are clear of 3rd place. So that is just Nicolo Falzaresi behind Dion Stahl, who has his bonnet loose apparently, and not his bonnet, his bumper. But Falzaresi is a lap down compared to the 2 leaders. Max Mulder is running in another minute behind Dion Stahl. He was now completing lap 39. Arendt now into Skyline with 7 liters left. The S is now in shadow. The track temperatures are plummeting down again as the sun is not shining onto the dark tarmac now. So there will be a little bit more grip for these drivers, but I don't think grip is something that Logan Oran will be looking for right now. We will be looking for fuel conversion. Excuse my English. He's definitely looking to save some fuel here on the last few laps, as he is down to 6.3 liters now. I can imagine that he's going into lean mix now. So Logan Arendt stays out again. He is probably going to the end, I can imagine. Let's see what his lap time says. Was he in lean mix? 7.8. I don't think he is. I think he's still pushing. He must be pushing. I mean, it's a 7.8. 5.3 liters left for Logan Arendt. Dion Stahl is safe on fuel. He got 16.2 liters left. He made that splash and dash pit stop at 2 laps ago. Let's see what kind of lap the Dutchman will put in. Dion Stahl over the line. An 8.1. Not his best lap. Dion Stahl also got a 1 second time penalty that must have been track extending somewhere. 4.2 liters left for Arendt. There's definitely 2 more laps to go for the American. This has become a strategy thriller here in the closing stages of the Bathurst 1.5 hours. As we're approaching the sunset here in Australia, we've raced from sunrise to sunset, a full 12 hours. Stahl coming through the S's. Oran through the chase. Oran pits. Oran goes into the pits. This will be interesting. Oh, big moment there on the entry onto the curb for Logan Oran. This will be a crucial pit stop. This gotta be perfect for Logan Oran and the Ferrari crew. The crew's ready. This is gonna be a super short splash and dash pit stop for Logan Oran. Let's see. How much fuel does he take? Just over 4 liters of fuel for Logan Oran. He's back going out of the box. Dion Stahl coming through the chase. I think Logan Oran should be safe here. Stahl through the chase. Past pit entry and coming into the final corner. Oran is on the entry, on the exit of the pit lane, and Oran is back out on the racetrack. Onto the mountain straight. And the gap is just about the same as it was before the pit stop. So all the drama, bit for nothing here. These two remain separated by around 13 or 14 seconds. I was wondering why Oran was staying out so long and wasn't covering off Dion Stahl, who made that undercut pit stop. But ultimately, it didn't really change anything. And Logan Oran remains in the lead as he's now approaching his 4th ever SRL League GT3 International race win. He's won the season opener at Daytona, the 2.4 hours at Daytona, his home race, which was a truly dominating performance by the American. He's won twice in the previous season as well. He can go equal on points here with our championship leader Max Mulder. This race could throw the championship wide open again. Max Mulder will keep his championship lead. Mulder currently running in 3rd place due to the tiebreaker with the better positionings outside of the winning races from Max Mulder compared to Logan Orand. But it really was the incident with Nicolo Falzaresi as Max Mulder goes into the grass and the gravel. But this is the final lap, the final time through the chase for Logan Orand. It was a race of attrition, but Orand stayed mistake-free. From pole to race win, Logan Orand goes lights to flag and wins at Bathurst. What a drive for Logan Orand. And he equals Max Mulder in the championship. Tied for the championship lead now with the Dutchman. Dion Stahl, what a performance by the Dutchman. Finally, after 3 years in the GT3 championship, a podium again. And what a run it has been for the Dutchman. Great drive. And championship leader Max Mulder, it's damage limitation for him. He had that contact with Nicolo Falzaresi at the beginning of the race, and everything else has just been damage limitation. He obviously had to make that early pit stop for repairs. As he comes through the S's with a spin, he has a huge gap to P4, so that's not really an issue. But quite impressive to spin and the S's and not hit the wall. He will keep his championship lead, but Logan Orand is right behind him. They are equal on points. And Max Mulder will keep the championship lead by tiebreaker. Falzaresi has already crossed the line. He will take P4 in his SRL League debut. Good drive by him. Maybe a bit over-aggressive too early. But that is something he has to learn in his first ever SRL League start, as he's coming from the F1 series, which really is a sprint series. And he has to get used to the endurance style of racing, which is really being consistent and conservative throughout the race. Max Mulder, damage limitation. He will take another podium here at Bathurst, coming over the line to claim 3rd position for the Dutchman. So it's a 2nd win of the season for Logan Orand. Dion Stahl finally gains another podium here at Bathurst with P3. He makes it a Ferrari 1-2 finish. Championship leader Max Mulder rebounds to 3rd place. Then it's Nicolo Falzaresi in his SRL League GT3 debut in P4. And yeah, that's all our finishers. Because we had a true race of attrition with 4 retirements. In 5th place was Josh Gates, I think. Was it Josh Gates? I think it was. No, it was Senna Hervaya. No, it was Josh Gates in 5th place. The American in his first ever SRL League outing. 6th place for Senna Hervaya. 7th place was Tim Vantigo, who had that huge crash on the 2nd lap of the race with Josh Gates in the McLaren. And then in P8 it was Kaz Nuchian, so disconnected just before the race start, unfortunately. So yeah, this has been from Bathurst. What an interesting race that towards the end with the strategy game between Dion Stahl and Logan Orand. I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. I'll be back on the racetrack next week at Spa-Francorchamps. Then it will be our F1 commentator Lance LeBron, aka Kamikaze Fox, back here in the booth for you. So make sure you tune in for the race at Spa. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel to see more SRL content so you don't miss any more action. We got the SRL recap video coming out from the Hungarian Grand Prix last week. A little bit delayed. I definitely want to apologize for that, but it is coming out in the next couple of days. Check out the links down below in the description for our SRL League website to stay up to date with the SRL League. Also, I suggest you guys check out the SRL Instagram account with highlights, interviews. Don't miss any graphics and standings being posted over there. Definitely recommend to check that out. And yes, I've been Sandro. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you next week at Spa. Goodbye.